So I'll start again. My name is Amin Fard. I work in the Workplace by Facebook team, looking after strategic alliances for Europe, Middle East, and Africa, which means that I work very closely with our service and product partners like Pratt to help to drive growth within the workplace ecosystem and to help our customers to get more value out of workplace. Now, most of you are familiar with Workplace by Facebook already, and you understand the product and how it works. And what we typically talk about for workplace customers is the 3 stages of workplace adoption. So the 3 stages that companies typically go through as they start to use Workplace. And the first of those is broadcast, and this is a use case that most companies start off with. So really using Workplace as a way to close the distance between the C-level in an organization and their frontline workers by sending messages through Workplace and really getting engagement from within the organization. The second stage is what we call collaboration or productivity. So getting teams within the organization to use Workplace as a vehicle to get work done. So actually getting work done within Workplace, setting up groups around different projects, collaborating and interacting within those groups. And the third is what we call automation. So this is really around how we can bring processes to life within Workplace by using bots, for example, within groups or even within chat. So at this point, I'd like to introduce you and hand over to Amin from Prep, who will be able to talk to us in more detail about this 3rd stage automation. So Amin, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. So we've got about 15 minutes left. So I thought I could just share my screen and go through a presentation that can, give you some more insight on how we may help. Can you guys see my presentation now?
Yep.
So as we all know, times are changing. I'm not going to repeat this, but everyone knows that millennials are your next hire, and their expectations, is to use modern tools and efficiency in communicating, and they have super short attention span. And email open rates are getting lower for every year that goes by. And what we are seeing when we work with companies is that the employees are having difficulties with too many channels in the company. So there's the email, the static intranet, you have Workplace, maybe Skype for Business, other chat apps, and there's too much information. That means that if everyone has a voice, what voices are important? What should I focus on? And too little time to read all of it. So studies have shown that 15 to 20 seconds is the read time before people lose interest in an email. And that's the average read time, sorry. That's about 50 words. It's super short. And for companies to evolve with the way we communicate, they need to think about different ways of communicating to employees. And that's when we come to the point. Workplace adoption 100%. It's not impossible. It's not utopia, because we are doing it with email today. So people are actually, everyone uses email regularly. How can we make that the same thing apply for Workplace? And in order to do that, we need everyone to see a clear value for why they need to use Workplace. And that's when we come into using chat as a means of communicating critical information to the employees. So instead of sending emails, you can send chat messages. You can broadcast a one-to-one message to your employees through chat. So I can't really see if you're writing anything or if you have any questions. I will deal with that later. But what we do in Prep is we give you a platform where you can send, let's say, a policy change through work chat to the employees. You can use it for operational messages. If there's alignment around a company initiative, it is great to use workplace posts to get engagement around it and the likes and the comments. But if there's, let's say, a live broadcast, you can send a chat message to all of the employees in a certain group, and then they can tune into that live event. Also for crisis communication. So by sending need-to-know information through Workplace, people will see a real value of using Workplace because that's where the need-to-know information is. And it's not email or the intranet undermining the Workplace channel and making Workplace the go-to place for all of the communication in the company. Yeah, we work with some of the leading workplace customers. And I'm just going to go through like a couple of use cases that might be interesting. So we have, for example, the revenue optimization company. They have about 2,500 mobile employees that work in sales and marketing for different retail companies. And they have 97% work chat adoption. So we are not actually driving the adoption, but they're using us as a means of communicating to their employees through chat. And then on the other side, we have Jazz. It's a telecom operator in Pakistan. They are using Prep to get the engagement up. Because as long as they keep sending emails for need-to-know information, they know that a big part of their workforce is not going to switch over to Workplace because that's not where the need-to-know information is. And yeah, so just stopping the. So I'm stopping the share so we can get back here. So is there any questions to how Prep works or how we can help? Does everyone understand how critical information can be broadcasted through chat messages?
Amin, I think it might be worth, it's Amone here, I think it might be worth sharing a bit more detail about one of the use cases to really kind of, take the group step by step through how the bots can be used to really share critical information. So I remember when we spoke a few weeks ago, we spoke about GDPR, for example, as a way to train and make sure that people really engage with regulation. Could you give an example?
Yeah, sure. So when it comes to GDPR, most of the people in here are from Europe. So it is need to know important. It's need to know information for the employees. And if you send that type of information through email, you really have no clue who's opening it, who's reading it, and the compliance. Same thing applies if you post it in a group in Workplace. You might get a lot of people reading it, but you also might not get a lot of people reading it. You don't know if they've actually read the post. So by sending a one-to-one message through Prep, you can send the information in bytes. So you don't send a big text to all of the employees. You send it in small chunks. And then you can actually ask them to confirm having read it as well. So you have a timestamp on when the employees read this information. When it comes to automation, we can set up an automated flow where all new employees that join Workplace for the first time get a series of messages. Some of them might be messages around GDPR or data handling in the company. So you can actually automate the whole process of getting compliance around GDPR through chat messages.
Yeah, and I think that the use case around onboarding for new employees is also a really interesting one to maybe just spend a bit more time on.
Yeah.
Can you talk a bit about some of the use cases that you've seen on how onboarding can be made more effective through automation?
Yeah, so I have a video about that as well that I can send to the participants after. But one thing that I really believe in onboarding through chatbots, because you need to grab the attention of the employees the first time they log into Workplace. So because when people go to a new software, they like to see value for every single time they log in order for them to have it as a habit. So I think using chat messages that grab their attention immediately after they onboard to Workplace for the first time can be a way of just ensuring that every single employee is engaged. And also, you can do the do's and the don'ts in Workplace. You can ask them to like their first post, because the first like is the hardest, right? So if you can push that through a fun and engaging conversation with a chatbot that's automated, I think that's going to be something that most companies eventually is going to integrate to their Workplace. I have some questions here. How do you make sure people open the chat the way they're not opening their emails? So I think that's a good question. In general, we see that open rates on chat is way higher than email. The only thing is that people need to have the chat application installed. So if you have 97% chat adoption, so people are using it, people do open their chat messages. Just like in our private lives, you basically open up all your messages on SMS and Messenger, but you don't open all of your emails. I think it's just less time consuming, and it's just easier to open. I think that's the reason why. So that's why I think chat is a better way of communicating important information. The next question about prep. So we are a Norwegian company. We're actually one of the first Workplace partners, product partners, and we built only exclusively for Workplace. The whole idea came from us working in marketing, and we saw that chat had better engagement than emails when you communicated to your customers. So when Workplace came along, and Norway was one of the first countries where Workplace really got a huge following, we decided to build this product for internal communicators so they can better communicate with their employees. So it's basically that's the idea, and we are now we have customers in over 20 countries. So we have Air Asia using us. They want to completely remove email and only use Workplace and chat. So they are using us as a means of communicating everything from compliance to operational messages to their employees that fly all over the world. So hope that yeah. So I see Camilla, you're from Norway as well. So yeah, and we only have 2 more minutes left. So I can maybe spend the next 2 minutes on the next step for people who are here now. if you're interested to see how the solution actually looks and how it will work for you, I can offer you a free workshop where we also can take a deeper dive into how your company's adoption is and in what ways we can help. So Amon mentioned onboarding. We can look into that. We can look into how you can send critical information through prep, but also how you can use competitions, games, etc. through chat messages to build to get more people to use Workplace by Facebook. So is there any other questions? If not, I would like to be respectful of everyone's time. And you can, of course, also contact me on email. I'm also going to send you an email after this. Oh, I got a last question from Peter. Yeah, the boost function, I didn't mention that, but in Workplace groups today, you can tag our bot in a post or in a comment field under the post, and our communication chatbot will see who's read that post in the Workplace group and who hasn't. And it will automatically send a chat message to the employees that have not read the post. So if you have 1,000 people in a group, 500 have read the post, 500 haven't, and it's an emergency of some kind, or it's really important that everyone reads it, our chatbot will send to the 500 that haven't read the post a chat message with a link back to the post. So you boost that post to the people who haven't read the post yet. You can also send a reminder email through our solution. So you don't read the post in Workplace, you get a chat message. You don't read the chat message, you get an email. And this is, of course, not for all types of information. It's about the need to know information that you want employees to use. So again, the use cases are, emergency situations when it comes to media or IT or health and safety. It can be operational, driving awareness around company initiatives, or if there's a sales and marketing campaign that you would like to get awareness around. So it's 10:21. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I will talk to you on email afterwards. Thank you.
Thanks, Amin.